Part 45. The Koi Fairy Wife is Sweet as Honey, Love from the Koi Goddess. Author, Su Xiaozhaji. Chapter 442. In Qinjiang's heart, fellow deist Jinli is my treasure in mission, who attracts wealth. Never offend. Even if she said that the sun is green today, I must cooperate with her and pretend that I am colorblind. Lu Zhenjia also smiled softly. Yes, we Jinli are so powerful, how can we be afraid of mere ghosts? Boss heart, Jinli, who insists on being stubborn, is so cute, but I still have to follow her, otherwise she will be embarrassed. The last is the ghost Suero. She pursed her lips in embarrassment, smoothed her hair that was messed up by the behavior just now. With Qinjiang's crazy hints, she had no choice but to say against her conscience, it's really true. I can't help Master Jinli, I've tried my best to practice the skill of picking my head neatly and beautifully next time. As soon as these words came out, not to mention Jinli, even Lu Zhenjia was speechless for a while. I said in my heart that you should say goodbye. No matter how you contact the skill of picking off the head, no one will think it looks good, it will only be scary. Jinli breathed a sigh of relief, and then looked at the three yin spirits standing quietly in front of him, feeling uncomfortable all over. She used to be in the heavens, even if she saw a ghost, it was a ghost who had cultivated the righteous way, or it should be said that she had become a ghost. It is no different from other gods. Who would have known that these ghosts would make themselves so scary? Let's go out first, she said. That's what Qinjiangzi wanted to say when he saw Jinli like that. He didn't dare to let his own yin spirit scare Jinli. What if the big baby refused to give him the treasure talisman? He took Jinli and Lu Zhenjia out of the room, and he didn't know whether it was intentional or not, and left the three yin spirits in the room. Boom. The door was closed. The moment the three of them walked out of the room, both Jinli and Lu Zhenjia paused. They heard shrill screams. The voice was so miserable and desperate that it hit the eardrums and made the scalp tingle, and the hairs all over the body couldn't help but stand on end. God knows, what kind of insane treatment did the three moon people in the room encounter? Seeing their expressions, Qinjiangzi quickly explained, don't worry, we are all law-abiding good citizens in mission. We will never hurt them, just scare them. Jinli/Lu Zhenjia. They thought of the trembling looks of the three of them, and thought that Igio thought they might be more willing to accept corporal punishment. Qinjiangzi led the two of them to the previous hall. On the Daemon Association's side, Jinli was not only here today to see the three moon people. They have more important things to tell her. Fellow deist Jinli, I don't know if you have heard that next month, our Deist Association will send representatives to participate in the joint cultural meeting. Hu Zhengan, the president of the Deist Association, asked. Jinli. She had never heard of it. If another person is here, when encountering such a situation, he must show a polite but embarrassing smile to show that he has heard a little bit about it. After that, the other party will understand it and start explaining it to him. However, Jinli was no ordinary person. She asked very puzzled, what is that? I haven't heard of it. Hu Zhengan. He choked for a moment and said, our official blog posted a message earlier, but fellow deist Jinli may be busy and didn't pay attention. It's like this. He and Jinli explained the so-called joint cultural conference. In name, it is a meeting together to exchange culture. In reality, it's far from that simple. The Koi Fairy Wife is Sweet as Honey, Love from the Koi Goddess. Author, Su Xiaozhaji. Chapter 443. Behind the so-called cultural exchange meeting is actually a contest between the mysterious forces of various forces. Whichever force has the stronger mysterious power will have more say in this regard. Ruhwa Kingdom has always been one of the most powerful existences in this respect. After listening to the science popularization, Jinli said, oh. Hu Zhengan. His reaction to Jinli was not very surprising. Because when Long Hao talked about this with him, he mentioned that he once invited Jin Li to join the Supervision Bureau, but was rejected without hesitation. This fellow Daoist Jin Li, who had a mysterious apprenticeship, didn't seem to care much about these trivial matters. He had expected it a long time ago, and he didn't show any surprise in the face of Jin Li's cold reaction. He just smiled and said, "Fellow Daoist Jin Li, aren't you curious, what will the exchange like in what we call the fighting competition be like?" As a little fairy, Jin Li was really not very interested in this kind of magic communication between humans. She shook her head sincerely. Hu Zhengan. Well, it's okay, I haven't started formally convincing fellow Daoist Jin Li yet. He cut straight to the point, and said directly, "Fellow Daoist Jin Li, I'm not trying to be tricky anymore. This time, on behalf of the Daoist Association, I want to invite you to join us and participate in this exchange meeting." Jin Li lowered her head and thought for a while, then asked, "What's the benefit? Is this mandatory? Can I refuse?" Hu Zhengan said with confidence that Captain Long was right. Fellow Daoist Jin Li would indeed ask these questions. He nodded, "There are advantages. As long as you agree, your career will go smoothly in the future. In terms of film and television management, you will be included in the first list, that is, to be highly praised, and you will become a young domestic artist representatives of." Lu Zhenjie was a little surprised when he heard it. He was not Jin Li, and he had a much sharper grasp of this information. Listening to the words of the president of the Taoist Association, it is obvious that the meaning of this so-called Suanman fighting competition is not ordinary. Jin Li looked thoughtful. Hu Zhengan quickly expressed his opinion, "Of course, we only invite fellow Daoist Jin Li to participate. It is not mandatory. You can refuse." Jin Li asked again, "Then, what do I need to do to participate in this martial arts competition? Are you tired? Has hope?" Hu Zhengan quickly said, "Your goal is to defeat all opponents in other places." "This is easy to say." Jin Li blinked, "No more." Hu Zhengan nodded, "No more." Jin Li made up his mind and thought it was a good deal. He was about to nod in agreement, but Lu Zhenjie gently tugged his sleeve. Jin Li turned around in doubt, "What's wrong?" Lu Zhenjie said in a low voice, "Acknowledge in a moment." Hu Zhengan. Lu Zhenjie took a step forward, walked to Jin Li's side, and looked at Hu Zhengan. "President Hu, I still have some questions about the Suanman Exchange Conference. Can you explain it to me?" "Of course, please ask Mr. Lu." Hu Zhengan nodded. Lu Zhenjie glanced at Jin Li, "Where is the venue? How long will it last? What kind of competition will be passed? Who will be the referee? Will the contestants be in danger? Will their lives be in danger? There have been contestants in the past. Is there an unexpected precedent? If you win, will there be any substantive rewards?" He asked a lot of questions in one breath before stopping. "I'll add when I think of it later." Hu Zhengan. Jin Li. "You're amazing." She looked at Lu Zhenjie with glowing eyes and praised. "You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Koi Fairy Wife is sweet as honey, love from the Koi Goddess. Author, Su Xiao Zheji. Chapter 444. She never thinks about these questions. Lu Zhenjie had no choice but to say, "You don't even know what it means to be careful when sailing for 10,000 years. Since you don't understand this, of course I have to pay more attention to you." Hu Zhengan, who is over half a century old and still can't find a Taoist partner. Tisk, sour teeth. Now these young people don't even know how to take care of the mood of elderly single dogs when they are in a relationship. Ignoring the slight sourness in his heart, he began to answer Lu Zhenjie's question seriously. "The Taoist Exchange Conference is held every 2 years, and it is held in places where various forces take turns. This year it is held on Sun Island. It will be held in early December. At the end of the month, we will fly to Sun Island, and the conference will last for 1 month. The referee panel will be composed of a representative selected from each of the major forces participating in the conference. As for the danger, he paused for a moment, as if hesitating, but finally told the truth, this kind of exchange meeting must be dangerous. But everyone is discussing, so far, there are very few life-threatening situations. However, the year before last, a sorcerer from the Rice Flag Kingdom did die, but it was not at the hands of his opponents, but because he himself used black magic that he could not control, and suffered a backlash. As for rewards, Hu Zhengan said, first of all, if we win, first of all, our Daoist association will give out a large sum of money. As soon as he said this, he found that Lu Zhenjie smiled lightly, and Jinli was expressionless, and he suddenly realized that these two were rich masters, and that little bonus really couldn't impress them. He hurriedly continued, there are other rewards. In addition to the convention organizers giving a prize to the champion as usual, each participating faction can voluntarily give a precious item as a reward to the champion team. Lu Zhenjie was surprised, voluntary. Then who is willing to do this? Hu Zhengan said with a smile, of course I am willing. If you don't give out the prize, even if the team of your own faction wins, it won't get the prize. Therefore, any faction that thinks it has the strength to win the championship will prepare a precious item. Moreover, some powerful forces, even if there are no elites in Suanmen in the past 2 years, in order not to lose their reputation and make their opponents laugh at their defeat without a fight, they will swell their faces and pretend to be fat. Oh, it's a matter of face. Jinli nodded in understanding. In the end, Hu Zhengan said in a low voice, actually, there is another main reason why everyone fights like this every year. The Suanmen Conference is actually not just about fighting for a winner's name, but about fighting for luck and strengthening the country's luck. National luck? Lu Zhenjie didn't understand the word very well. Hu Zhengan explained a little bit, you can understand it this way, if the country's luck is good, everything will go smoothly, and the country will be peaceful and the people will be safe. If the country's luck is bad, the mountains and rivers will be broken, and the people will have no means of living. Lu Zhenjie. His scientific thinking made him subconsciously want to refute, this is impossible, people live their lives, and science and technology are the primary productive forces. After he said this, he suddenly realized, and when he looked up, he saw that Hu Zhengan and Jinli were both looking at him with the same expressionless face. President Hu sighed, and said with emotion, after seeing the yin spirit raised by Senior Qin Jiangzi, Mr. Lu can still be so aware of science. He really loves it deeply. Of course, he didn't know that Lu Zhenjie had not only seen ghosts, he had even seen gods. Lu Zhenjie coughed dryly, this is a conditioned reflex. The koi fairy wife is sweet as honey, love from the koi goddess. Author, Sushao Zhaji. Chapter 445. Come on, reflex. President Hu expressed his understanding to Father Lu. In the end, Jinli felt that there was no problem, even if life is in danger, it's someone else's life in danger, and it has nothing to do with me. President Hu. Lu Zhenjie. President Hu patted his thigh, okay. This kind of self-confidence is what you want. Then Daoist Jinli, this matter is settled like this. Jinli thought for a while and felt that there was no problem, so she nodded, okay. Wait a minute, Lu Zhenjie spoke again. President Hu, does Mr. Lu have any questions? Lu Zhenjie considered it for a while, and said, our Huiguo representative team, did you accept sponsorship? President Hu, huh? Lu Zhenjie was still a little worried. I don't know why, but he always has a bad feeling about this exchange meeting. He wanted to see Jinli himself to be at ease. What I mean is, does your team accept sponsorship? I can bear all the expenses of this exchange conference in my own name, and there is only one requirement. President Hu has already pressed the calculator in his heart, so many people, 1 month, although there is reimbursement, but if Papa Lu sponsors, not to mention the improvement of living standards, you can still earn a fortune, right? A smile bloomed on his face immediately. Mr. Lu, tell me. Lu Zhenjie asked, are members allowed to bring their families? I want to go with Jin Li. Jin Li? President Hu? He blurted out, of course. Say it earlier. We wish you could join us, Mr. Lu. You have to know your miraculous physique. Standing in the team during team battles is a natural sorcery and black magic signal shielding tower, with a high safety factor. He quickly finalized the relevant matters with Lu Zhenjie, and promised to add Lu Zhenjie to the list. Jin Li? She asked a little confused. No, Lu Zhenjie, please explain, how did you become my family member? Lu Zhenjie calmly explained, well, I went with you, Jin Li, rounding it up, isn't it a family member? Jin Li? Why does this rounding sound familiar? She was a little unhappy. You can't say such things casually. I don't like people not asking for my opinion when they make decisions related to me. For the sake of Lu Zhenjie's first time doing this, she used the fairy's big belly and didn't care about him. Lu Zhenjie's heart sank, and he smiled, okay, I will definitely discuss it with you next time. It's not that I won't do it again next time, but to discuss it with you. It's a pity that the nervous little fairy fish didn't understand this meaning. She also didn't realize that she had been lowering Lu Zhenjie's bottom line unknowingly. What happened just now, if it were someone else, she would probably turn her face. Things are over here. The Daoist Association has a good attitude, and Jin Li plans to reciprocate. She said, didn't you say that the 3 moon people still have secrets that they haven't revealed? I can find out for you. Hu Zhengan was overjoyed. Thank you, fellow Daoist Jin Li. Jin Li nodded reservedly, remembered something, and said a little embarrassedly just now, I don't like to have other people, and anything around me when I cast a spell, so please ask fellow Daoist Qin Jiangzi to get him out of the way first. Call some old friends of mine back. The Koi fairy wife is sweet as honey, love from the Koi goddess. Author, Sushao Zhaji. Chapter 446. Jin Li's small request was of course met. So Jin Li walked into the room where the 3 of them were staying alone, and under the fearful eyes of the 3 of them, one in each hand, knocked them unconscious without hesitation. You might not believe it, but at the moment they passed out, the 3 of them from the Moon Kingdom actually showed expressions of relief. If you think about it, you won't be able to see anything when you faint. Compared with mental torture, they would rather accept physical torture at this moment. Jin Li entered the memory of the 3 of them at the speed of light. 10 minutes later, she backed out, and the 3 people on the ground were still unconsciously asleep. The Taoist people guarding the door were surprised when they saw her come out. So fast. Fellow Daoist Jin Li, did you find it? Jin Li nodded and told them what he saw. The black mage who sent the 3 of them didn't act alone. The Moon Kingdom knows what he did. Daoist people. Shuelayadao snorted coldly, I knew that these guys have never been honest. Jin Li thought for a while, but she wasn't sure. In the memory of the 3 of them, it seems that the black mage has something to do with the Sun Kingdom, but they are just young people and can't get in touch with more things. Sun Country? The organizer of this martial arts competition? Everyone has a subtle feeling in their hearts. Seeing their dignified expressions, Jin Li comforted them calmly, why are they like this? Don't be afraid, don't be afraid. With me here, it doesn't matter whether they want to make trouble or not. Layman Huijin looked at her and smiled, it's not that I'm afraid, but that the relationship between us and the Sun Kingdom has always been a bit delicate. I'm not particularly surprised to hear this news. Jin Li didn't ask any further questions, and nodded to show that she understood. Then, if there's nothing else, I'll go back first, she said. President Hu was very enthusiastic about staying for dinner, but Jinli shook his head. I have an appointment tonight. Good. Not long ago, Lu Jianzhen called Jinli and asked Jinli to go to her place. As Lu Jianzhen's younger brother, Lu Zhenjie took over the responsibility of the driver without hesitation. After the two left the Daoist Association, Lu Zhenjie heaved a sigh of relief. This afternoon is definitely a very important afternoon for his life. Something completely shattered. It turned out that his understanding of this world was so shallow and one-sided. Thinking of everything he encountered today, he couldn't help shouting, Jinli. The scene of Jinli flying with her head tilted, huh? Lu Zhenjie asked in a low voice, do you think I can cultivate immortality? Jinli turned her head in surprise, have you really changed your mind? I remember you used to be very distrustful of these things. Lu Zhenjie coughed dryly, come here to experience my experience this afternoon, it's hard not to change your mind, isn't it? 2. Jinli thought about it and said, give me a hand. There were not many cars on this road, and it was not a big problem to drive with one hand. Lu Zhenjie handed his hand to Jinli. Jinli grabbed his hand and stroked it up from between his fingers, inch by inch. Lu Zhenjie. A numb feeling followed the place Jinli had touched to Tianling Gai, and his whole body trembled violently. Jinli was puzzled, what's the matter with you? So excited? Lu Zhenjie remained silent, not daring to speak. 6th update. There are 2 more chapters to be updated in the afternoon. The former Goryeo Kingdom has been changed to the Moon Kingdom. Moi. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Koi Fairy Wife is sweet as honey, love from the Koi Goddess. Author, Su Xiaozhaji. Chapter 447. He was afraid that when he opened his mouth, his voice would be unstable because of being too excited, and Jinli would find out something. He knew very well that Jinli's actions had absolutely no ambiguous meaning, but still very excited. He watched Jinli's movements in silence, and unexpectedly Jinli said, be careful. Lu Zhenjie. Jinli, I'm driving, why are you watching me? Watch the road. Lu Zhenjie. He obediently turned his head away. But without looking at the eyes, the senses on the skin are more obvious. Little Fairy's soft fingertips pressed against his arm, and it didn't hurt, just a little itchy. It's hard. He couldn't help asking, Jinli, what are you doing? Jinli let go of her hand with a hum and said, touch the bone. She briefly explained to Lu Zhenjie that the meaning of touching the bones was probably to confirm whether Lu Zhenjie had the qualifications for cultivation. Hearing this, Lu Zhenjie suppressed all the strange feelings in his heart, and asked nervously, then how about my roots? Jinli. She really wanted to tell Lu Zhenjie the result in a tactful and harmless way, but she was used to being straightforward and telling the truth, so she choked out a sentence after a long time. Not particularly bad. A bad premonition rose in Lu Zhenjie's heart, it's not particularly bad, which means. Poor Jinli said concisely. Lu Zhenjie. Boss BA is a little skeptical about life. From childhood to adulthood, he has been a legend, a child of other people's family. The evaluation of very poor has never appeared in his life at all. He was a little hard to accept, did you make a mistake? Jinli didn't like people questioning him very much, but the target was Lu Zhenjie, who looked shocked and sad. She shook her head, impossible, you know my identity, do you think I might be wrong? Lu Zhenjie still found it unbelievable, but, didn't you say that I have a special physique that is immune to any kind of magic? Logically speaking, I should be unusual. Jinli didn't understand this very well. She inspected Lu Zhenjie carefully, and there was nothing unusual about him. Of course, Jinli had never done anything to invade the other party's soul and memory, so he wasn't sure if he had any adventures that he didn't know about. She kept silent. On the contrary, Lu Zhenjie did not give up and asked again, then what if I really want to cultivate immortality? If I work hard, can I cultivate? Jinli nodded, of course, everyone can. Lu Zhenjie was not optimistic. Based on his understanding of Jinli, there must be something unfinished behind her. Really? But just like everyone can study, some people can go to the first university in God, and some people can't even go to high school. Jinli looked at Lu Zhenjie, can you understand what I mean? Lu Zhenjie asked back, am I the one who failed the high school? Jinli sighed, yes. Lu Zhenjie stopped talking. This silence lasted all the way to Lu Jianzhen's manor. Lu Jianzhen was undoubtedly very happy to see Jinli. She didn't notice that her brother was in a bad mood until she hugged Jinli. Lu Zhenjie, what's the matter with you? She raised her eyebrows and asked, thinking that my younger brother's appearance is very strange. Lu Zhenjie raised his eyes and gave her a silent look, and continued to remain silent. Lu Jianzhen. She turned to ask Jinli in a low voice. The koi fairy wife is sweet as honey, love from the koi goddess. Author, Sushao Zhaji. Chapter 448. Unexpectedly, Jinli, who had always been very caring, sighed and fell silent. Lu Jianzhen. What's the matter with you two? Can't you have a good talk? I really don't blame Jinli. It's hard for her to say things like cultivation in the Daoist Association. Ordinary people like Lu Jianzhen don't know better. Sister, why did you ask me to come over? She took Lu Jianzhen's hand and tried to divert her attention by acting coquettishly. It really made her a success. With the beauty in her arms, Lu Jianzhen immediately decided not to bother about this bad brother. She was shocked, oh, it's my painting exhibition. It will be held in Beg Country, Silver Palace next Monday. Do you want to see it for yourself? Jinli immediately called Sister Cheng. Sister Cheng heard that she was going to Beg Country to participate in Lu Jianzhen's art exhibition, so she said that she had time, so go ahead. Jinli turned on the speakerphone and let Lu Jianzhen hear the answer. Lu Jianzhen hugged her happily, great. If you go with me, then, you can imagine how much sensation you will cause and how many people's hearts you will capture. Lu Zhenjie, who was currently in isolation, suddenly heard the sentence. Jinli was going to Beg Country. With Jinli's beauty, there were bound to be many suitors. No, he has to watch those crazy bees and butterflies. He quickly withdrew from his autism and said, I'm going too. Jinli glanced at her, surprised, I remember, you are very busy with work, right? The art exhibition has been going on for several days, do you have time? Lu Zhenjie didn't change his expression, recently, I've worked a lot of overtime and completed a big project. I plan to take a vacation and relax. The scenery in Beg Country is nice, just right. Big deal, give Bai Yan a bonus. Oh, Jinli understood and didn't doubt his words. Lu Jianzhen, on the other hand, raised the corners of his eyes and glanced at his younger brother with a half-smile. Not bad. Have a sense of crisis, but also know how to fight for opportunities. Much progress has been made. Excitedly, she took Jinli to look at her studio again, and then began to chat about plans for the exhibition. In the middle of the conversation, she said, the first day of our debut, we must not be casual. The pink diamond you gave me last time, I have had someone process it, set it on a crystal crown, and the dress has also been customized. Brocade, what about you, Pear? Even a 40-year-old woman has her own girlish heart. Jewelry and dresses, so simple. Jinli smiled and said, I have a lot of beautiful clothes and jewelry, sister, don't worry. Seeing her being so casual, Lu Jianzhen was a little worried, you have to have some snacks, you are the biggest surprise of my art exhibition, you must be grand enough to surprise the world. She thought about it, and said with some reluctance, otherwise, I'll wear the custom-made crystal crown for you. Jinli couldn't laugh or cry, it's really unnecessary, sister, I really have a lot of beautiful jewelry. Lu Zhenjie listened and remembered Jinli's identity. He asked, does Jinli like shiny jewelry? Jinli nodded without hesitation, I like it. There are a lot of fish in the little treasure house. Boss Ba hesitated for a moment before saying, I have a lot of jewelry, Jinli, do you want to see it? Lu Jianzhen looked sideways when he heard the words. She looked at this little brother in amazement, incredible. Even my own sister only took a look at it from a distance, and my own father, Mr. Lu, didn't even have a chance to take a look at Lu Zhenjie's collection room. He actually, one day, personally invited a person to see it. 8 is over today. See you in the morning. Ask for a recommendation ticket, ask for a comment, and ask for a monthly ticket. Mua. The Koi fairy wife is sweet as honey, love from the Koi goddess. Author, Sushao Zhaji. Chapter 449. Jinli blinked her eyes and asked curiously, is it like the beloved star? Lu Zhenjie quickly said, my beloved Xin Chen is also inside. Unexpectedly, Jinli would always remember that necklace. In this case, he took it out and gave it to her. Lu Zhenjie thought sweetly in his heart, unexpectedly, things that couldn't be delivered at that time could still be delivered to Jinli after going around. That's good, Jinli said with a smile. Lu Zhenjie quickly said, then, go see it tomorrow. His collection room is in the Lu family's old house. In fact, he doesn't live there, and he doesn't go there often. The collection room is placed there because the place where he usually lives is often uncertain, but the old house is always there. One reason is that the safety factor of the Lu family's old house is much, much stronger than other places. Jinli nodded in agreement. Seeing this, Lu Jianzhen said wickedly, can I go and have a look together? Jinli didn't know about Lu Zhenjie's habit, and was still wondering what was wrong with it. Just as he was about to speak, Lu Zhenjie quickly said, sister, you are not busy with the preparations for the art exhibition these few days. I'm very nervous, how can I have time to go back to the old house? Lu Jianzhen. She gritted her teeth, ha ha. It really is my brother. So picky. She couldn't help but think of the last time she went home. That fellow Lu Zhenjie said he only wanted her to take a look at the door, and it was really only one look. She stood outside the door, and Lu Zhenjie opened the codes. The moment the door of the storage room opened, she only had time to see a large piece of bright light, and subconsciously closed her eyes. It was just that short moment. Lu Zhenjie closed the door. She didn't see anything at all. But the stingy man was still plausible. It was agreed to stand outside the door and take a look, you have already seen it. When he spoke, he still had a painful expression, as if he had taken advantage of him. The more Lu Jianzhen thought about it, the more distorted his expression became, and he really wanted to go back to the past, hang up Lu Zhenjie who hadn't grown up, and give him a hard pump. Why haven't you grown up yet? Because the grown-up Lu Zhenjie was taller, stronger, and stronger than her. I can't beat it. Lu Jianzhen winked at Lu Zhenjie, I'll follow Jinli to have a look. Lu Zhenjie calmly returned his rejection with his eyes, no. Lu Jianzhen, I have put so much effort into chasing your wife for you. Little white-eyed wolf. What's wrong with just taking a look? Not to be outdone, Lu Zhenjie said, except for me and my wife, no one can watch it. Neither can my sister. Lu Jianzhen, bah. Lu Zhenjie, oh. That's all for the exchange. The two siblings broke up unhappy. However, this silent exchange did not affect Jinli. She didn't notice the turbulent undercurrent between her siblings at all, so she happily had a meal at Lu Jianzhen's place, and Lu Zhenjie sent her back. In the end, Lu Jianzhen failed to make Lu Zhenjia let go. Back home, Jinli met Lan Ting's excited eyes. The girl's eyes were shining, and she didn't hide her desire to gossip at all. Jinli, where did you go with Mr. Lu today? Jinli took a keen look at her and asked, what do you want to hear? Lan Ting blurted out, of course you two made an appointment. She reacted, where did you go and what did you do? She was aggrieved, you didn't take me with you, why don't you allow me to be curious? You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Koi Fairy Wife is Sweet as Honey, Love from the Koi Goddess. Author, Sushao Zheji. Chapter 450. Jinli glanced at her and snorted softly, don't think I don't know. Lan Ting, what? Jinli dragged her chin and glanced at her, do you like Lu Zhenjia very much? Lan Ting. Jinli was very sure, every time you see Lu Zhenjia, you are very excited, and every time I go out with him, you are even more excited. So I came to the conclusion. She said with certainty, you like him. Lan Ting. How did this topic get to this extent? No, the point is, little fairy, why do you think so? This misunderstanding is too big. She quickly said, it's not that I don't like Papa Lu, don't get me wrong. Jinli frowned, Papa Lu. Lan Ting. She said with a dry smile, because Mr. Lu is very rich, netizens like to call him Papa Lu, so I will also call him by the way. This Jinli understands. Fans have all kinds of weird names. For example, her fans, some called Little Fairy, some called Jinli's daughter, Jinli's wife, Jinli's father, everything. Hey, it's also fortunate that the little fairy doesn't mind these things, otherwise the status relationship is really worrying. But that's not the point of this talk. Jinli turned his thoughts back to the matter of Lan Ting likes Lu Zhenjia. When she heard Lan Ting's denial, she didn't believe it, human beings like duplicity the most. If you like it, and I won't be angry. She thought about it, in all fairness, Lu Zhenjia is the top choice for a partner among human beings. Lan Ting was about to cry. This kind of misunderstanding must not allow her to exist. She grabbed Jinli's hand and said, no, Jinli, look into my sincere eyes and listen to my explanation. I can touch my conscience and tell you that I don't like Papa Lu at all. Jinli. She took a serious look at Lan Ting and found that she really wasn't lying. It is indeed true. She doesn't like Lu Zhenjia? Jinli breathed a sigh of relief for no reason. But it felt so slight that she didn't even notice it. She asked strangely, since you don't like Lu Zhenjia, why are you so excited every time he appears? Lan Ting. This question is really on point. She coughed dryly, well. Jinli's big, bright peach blossom eyes looked at her unblinking, crystal clear. No lie can be concealed under the gaze of these eyes. Lan Ting found that her making up skills fell into a CD on the spot. After stuttering for a while, she found that she couldn't make anything up. If he hesitated any longer, Jinli would think that she still liked Papa Lu again if he couldn't keep it. Lan Ting simply broke the jar. On the internet, there is a group called CP Fans, do you know? CP Powder. Understand? Jinli nodded, I know, I just like two people, or two characters, and make them flirt together. Lan Ting whispered, you know, I'm your and Papa Lu's CP fan. Jinli. Me and Lu Zhenjia, CP fans. Lan Ting nodded, the cruel CEO who spends a lot of money vs the narcissistic and arrogant fairy, the rich and loyal dog president vs the prosperous beauty and beauty control fairy, and... She bala a lot, and looked at Jinli with bright eyes, which one do you like better? Jinli. The Koi Fairy Wife is Sweet as Honey, Love from the Koi Goddess. Author, Sushao Zheji. Chapter 451. Finally, at the end of the normal conversation, Lanting gave Jinli a bunch of links, as well as a mysterious website, which gave Jinli a more comprehensive understanding of the world of CP fans. Jinli originally refused in her heart, but she couldn't help being a little curious. So after she finished washing, she lay down on the bed and opened the website and link given by Lanting. Unstoppable. Sugar addiction is addictive. Even if one of the parties is himself, it is no exception. CP fans always have the ability to create something out of nothing, to see the big from the small, to dig out the tiny details that ordinary people can't see with the naked eye, and to edit their brains into a sweet video. Looking at it, even Jinli felt like he was about to believe it. Jinli and Lu Zhenjie were an extremely sweet and firm lover. You do not believe? Look at that man, how gentle his eyes are when he looks at Jinli, how tall and upright he is cooking noodles for his sweetheart, and how loud his public declaration on the show is. As for Jinli, I often act with Lu's father, sit together in the show, get in the same car when I go home, and have been photographed eating out together. If this is not love, what else is love? Jinli watched one video, then another, and then another. By the time she realized that she started to feel drowsy, it was already past 1 in the morning, far beyond her usual sleep time. Brushing videos is poisonous. Jinli threw the phone aside angrily, pulled the quilt over herself, and went to sleep. But this night, she didn't sleep very well. Dreamed about watching those videos all night long. For a while it was the content of the video, and for a while it seemed to become reality again. After a while, I heard Lu Zhenjie say to her affectionately, "Jinli, this is the crew I contracted for you." After a while, Lu Zhenjie brought her a bowl of noodles, and said affectionately, "Jinli, you are the only woman in this world who is worth washing my hands for soup." Dreadful. When he woke up the next morning, Jinli was, no, the whole fish was in a daze. She sat in a daze for a while, got up, went to the bathroom, melted out a fishtail, and plunged into the bathtub. Call. Allowing the warm water to cover him, Jinli shook his head violently and finally regained consciousness. This dream is too scary. Jinli, who finally woke up, got up, changed her clothes and went downstairs. Lanting has already prepared breakfast and waited for her. Any plans for today? Lanting asked. Just as Jinli was about to say that I was going to Lu's house with Lu Zhenjie, he suddenly remembered Lanting's identity as a fanatic CP fan, and by the way, remembered the dream from last night. She shook her head again, various inexplicable images popped up in her mind, and said vaguely, "Go out with a friend." She didn't know why she felt guilty for no reason. Lanting had no doubts, and asked intimately, "Do you need a driver to pick you up?" Jinli shook his head and went out with Lu Zhenjie. He always took care of everything very well. This kind of trivial matter doesn't require her to work hard at all. After dinner, Jinli went out. As expected, Lu Zhenjie was already standing in the small flower garden beside him, waiting for her. He always seemed to be like this, whenever the two of them had an appointment, whether it was business or fun, he would always show up at the appointed place earlier than her. She only needs to step out and raise her eyes to find that tall and straight figure. No need to waste a minute waiting. No need to search hard.